Hi, if you're watching this video, you probably want to know how to set up your own custom HUD. So first, after you go to GitHub page of the project, it's linked in the thread. You should download the whole code, and it should be this zip file. It might be called differently. We're not going to take care of this for a while. This we can extract here. And now we need to go to command prompt. No, we do not. If we use Windows, we run file run.bat, and if we use Linux, we run this file, and it should take care of installing all the dependencies and stuff. Alright, after a while it took 45 seconds at me. We have this prompt. Next startups are going to be a lot faster, so now we just copy this and we go to this address, and we got this panel. And what we've got here, we've got 4 tabs, and we've got teams, we've got players, we've got create match, and we've got HUDs. But from the start, this is create. This is panel for creating custom information that is going to display on the HUD. So here we can set a team that technically isn't defined as pro team, but we will have their name, we will have their flag, and we will have their logo if we have it. So we set it on new team. I'm going to use SK Gaming because I've got their logo already on my PC. We've got here short name, which isn't being used at the moment, but I think it will be in the future. So now we just need to find Brazil, and in files I set up for SK Gaming. It should be a white logo, but I don't have it, and we click save team, and it should be it. It's already loaded, and we've got this team, but yeah, if we click on it, a logo is going to load. Those corners aren't really rounded up, it displays as a circle. In players, we can also set up a player. I'm going to set up myself. I think this is my Steam ID, and I wanted to join SK Gaming, but I cannot now. So we need to refresh the page, and we go to players. We set new player, team SK Gaming, real name, let's say John Smith, display name Austin. And now we set up our country, and our country will be different than our team, and it should be Poland. Yes, Steam ID, it should be it, and we click save player. So we've got our John Smith Austin. We can delete player here. We can set up. We can delete logo only. We can delete whole team, and now we can go, after we create teams, after we set up players, we go to create match, and we can set up here best of 2, best of 3, best of 5, and it will and match data will contain which match type it is, and map score for both teams. And by team 1 it means team that is on the left side, because it can be really determined which team is on which side. So team 1 means a team on the left side of the screen, and team 2 is on the right side of the screen. So of course we do not know which team will be where, so we've got here swap, and when we set up, for example, best of 3, 1 here, right, maybe like that, and we set up SK Gaming here, we can click set, it's already saved, and we can swap. Every data is swapped in a moment. Okay, so now the data is loaded into a match, and we technically could go to HUD. This thing, I will get back to HUD in a moment. This is our server app, and it needs to be loaded all the time if we are running a match. However, when we go to HUDs, how to create new HUDs, I will get to it in a moment. We enable this one, and we've got default, which is default, and we've got URL. We can open it up in other window, and it should load. Oh no, it won't load because our CSGO is on the main menu. So after it, we can go to watch tab, we can on live, and we will go to some random match. Alright, so this HUD is already loaded, but it detects whether CSGO is on menu, or is it escape to the menu in game, and then it hides. It technically can be turned off. Alright, we click it here, and all of data are added. So as you can see, we're gonna leave CSGO for a moment. HUD is just a web page locally hosted, and we've got all data, we've got avatars loaded, we've got team flag because we set up the left team, and now it's worth noting that this app, if you enable Node.js in firewall settings, you can get to the admin panel by your mobile phone, so you do not have to leave CSGO to change some settings. You can just type the address in Google Chrome on your mobile phone, and it's 1.16. It will take a moment. I want to swap teams, and because we only defined one team, there's one, I said swap, and as you can see, named team name, team flag and logo is changed. Yeah, here flag stayed because I forgot about it. We can swap it, we can force refresh it. Yeah, when we force refresh it, it hides. When I will upload it on GitHub, it should already be gone. Alright, so I had to disconnect and change to my mobile network because mobile connection, because I got my internet shut down, and then it all crashes. Not crashes, but it starts to get laggy. Data is coming once every second, so it's not very smooth. Okay, we will change to me. We will start the game, so it will change. We're gonna get here, and as you can see, we've got Austin loaded. Oh, I really have that name. Alright, whatever, but our real name is loaded, flag is loaded, and because I had to restart all the HUD, IP is different, and we didn't set up a team, so there is no team for now, and neither is match. Right, so that would be it. All it takes to start this default HUD is to just download this, click on run bat, and we've got this. And why is it accessible by web page? Because it's much easier to stream by streaming CSGO separately than HUD, and in OBS you can set up browser source, and you can just give this link so it would load from web page. Other thing is that on bigger workspaces, like for streaming, if one person is doing it, or even a couple, if you've got workspace for streaming and you are doing one PC for observing and one PC for, let's say, showing replays, if it's all in one local network, you can just add other HUD, and it will all be handled by one server on one PC, and all others could just just connect to it. Okay, second thing is how to create HUD. It might not be very easy, but basically what do you want to do is to go to public directory next to HUDs, and we've got here a default folder. We can copy it, we can set it to new HUD. We're gonna delete all of this, and now we're gonna refresh it and go to HUDs. As you can see, we've got a new position, we've got new HUD, which is name of our folder. We've got a separate address for it. It is by default turned off, and we've got here warnings. We're missing template pag, index.js, and style CSS. From all these three files, only template.pag is absolutely necessary, because it is this file that is being loaded, and it is similar. It's different. It's not HTML per se, but there is, for example, HTML to Jade.org. Jade is older version of pag, kind of. And once you create your HUD in HTML and CSS, you can just take HTML file and parse it here, so you've got Jade or pag code right here, and you can paste it to template.pag. Okay, now let's get into the files. We copied files to the folder, we refresh it, and warnings are all gone, and alright, and as you can see, new HUD got to the first position. I don't know why. Okay, what happens when it's disabled and you got to this link? Well, you go back to HUD's tab. So if we enable it, and if we go there, we see precisely the same HUD as here, because all of the files are just copied. And so how do you create HUD? You've got template.pag, which is, I'm gonna show you. It's HTML structure, it's not pure HTML. And what is necessary here? As you can see, it's not maybe very professional, but you can see player 8, and it should be, I'm gonna show you, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's this box, it's player 8, and we've got bar 1, which is bar on the top, where you can have a HP bar, so only color, that yellow orange box. And now we've got div for HP points, for username, which is by default undefined, and we've got place for weapons. It only loads rifles or sniper rifles here, and pistols are on the second bar, bottom bar, where you've got equip bar, which is this little thing, and as you can see, there's also stat t, and this is placed right here, but it's not visible because I set it up. So we will get to the end of this round. Yeah, we've got bomb. Alright, I'm gonna kill him, and I'm gonna die in 5 seconds about. So whatever, round is ending, round is ended, I am dead. As you can see, 0 HP points, this guy has only 1, and new round is coming, and we've got team money, we've got equipment value, and we've got money spent this round from the beginning on the round from this player, and we've got kills, the assists, and deaths. Of course, it's all part of the configuration of the default HUD. We can on the new HUD set it however we want, and alright, so let's back to the structure. I'm kinda messy. All of this from the end up to the body is is the part that we can change, we can set up however we want, it doesn't matter. But head part is very important. We need to have those two scripts. We have to have I believe, oh no, this is okay. We have to got those two scripts, those three variables defined. Yeah, we have to have all of this basically. So this is including socket.io.js, and it allows for very quick data streaming from a server to web page and vice versa. Then we've got the jQuery to manipulate everything we see on the screen, and we now set up IP and port because yeah, that was just the easiest way for me to do it. Next we've got display avatars. Oh yeah, it's part of the config, we will get to it. Display avatars, and it defines it is true or false. It defines whether or not it should load the avatars, because we can turn it off. Next we've got JS main.js, and it's not here, it's right here, but we don't touch it. It should be there. Then we've got HUD, which is which loads this file here. Alright, whatever. Next is style sheet CSS, and it loads this file. So we saw how does structure of the HUD looks like. Of course, it's for sure can be made a lot better, but it's practically legacy code. But I don't have strength and will of update it. So let's go to index.js, and here is a lot of jQuery spaghetti code, or even not spaghetti, just 300 lines. Alright, so what is the necessary part? It's function update page. It is absolutely necessary. It cannot be deleted, because in main.js, I'm even gonna show you, it always uses it uses update page, and it's referencing it and getting all the data from CSGO, getting right to this function as its argument. So in data here we got all the data. It already went through some a couple of parts. It already went through something, and from data we can derive any kind of information we want, almost any. We, for example, cannot get a headshot percentage directly, of course, but we can do it in another way. We cannot get at all average damage per round, and a couple of other things, but as on my GitHub page there is of course documentation for it, so don't worry. I've got all of you set up, but basically we've got data. From data we've got getObserved function, which then we check if stream ID is 1. It means that what we are watching is from the third perspective. I mean, if, alright, let's resume it. Now it's first, now it's second, third, whatever, and now we are completely disconnected, and in this moment CSGO tells us that our observed player has Steam ID of 1, but that doesn't matter. So we for example here we are checking if this is GoTV, and if it is, then we are turning off the player container here, and if it's not, we show it. and we also check it if we are not on the menu, because we can go here and we can click escape and all the HUD disappears like here. Right, we can stop this, and next. Basically we've got get players, which gets us array of players, round data, map data. Here we've got get city, and in get city there are a couple of changes from the old code. Markdown editor. Oh yeah, I hope it loaded. I was editing documentation page, so it's not yet online. For example, on TeamCity we have access to score, to the default name, so most of the times it just counter terrorists, but if we are watching some top tier teams, it might show something else, like Virtus Pro, like SK Gaming, or it might show something else if all of the teammates in team have team tags, have the same team tag, but mostly it's just TeamCity if it's counter-terrorists and terrorists. If you want to get teams that we were loading through the panel, right here, when we wanted to set SK Gaming, we use functions, for example, get team1, and we've got team1 right here. Yeah, all of this is the default HUD, and if you want to make your own HUD from the beginning, I would suggest to first creating your template. It can be tested, I mean only visually, just without without index.js. You can just create template.pack and style. I have to go back to this style.css here, and I've got a lot of this. Yes, so you create those two files, you create structure, and it just even if Counter-Strike is not running HUD should show on some basic level. We can basically get anything here. As you can see, we've got which weapon is equipped, how many different nades player has, how many kill in this round, if he has Kevlar and helmet or not, like here. What else? We can set a different color of the bar. We've got here kills, assists, and deaths. There is no icon for ammunition, so we've got how many he have in current load, and how many he has overall. Yeah, we've got player money, etc. So we can create pretty much anything. We can set up some animation here if a team wins the round. I didn't have the time to do it. So what's next in creating your HUD? Well, basically you just have to know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, preferably jQuery. Also, you can do it in pure JavaScript, but it would be too much of shit work. So yeah, and this function update page is the absolute must-have in the index.js. The rest of it is, you know, your fantasy. You can do whatever you want here. So yeah, oh yeah, how to display it on top of CSGO. Yeah, you have one way. Probably if you're a Linux user, you've got here overlay folder, and there is index.html, and there is package.json, and here are a couple of lines of code here and here, and you would have to practically compile this for yourself because it uses MW.js to create transparent process overlay on top of everything. And yeah, additionally there will be, I forgot about it, we create config.json. Oh yeah, we have to get the config, right? And here should be port. By default it is 2626, and also you can set up some other address. And what this is, I'm gonna show you. After you compile all of this, I will provide link for already compiled version. We've got this CSGO overlay for custom HUD. I'm gonna extract it here. It weighs a lot because it's for Windows 32-bit and 64. No, this, and you've got this mess. And what you're interested in is only CSGO overlay for custom HUD. But also, as I created that config.json, we will go back. If you're compiling it, yeah, config.json will be here either way. So we're gonna close this, and we're gonna set up this. So what it is when you start on your PC, you've got this address, and if you're starting a server up and you're starting overlay on the same PC, you do not have to write anything in this. You can just leave it like this, but config.json should I will check it. Yeah, config.json is necessary to be in here, but if you want to set up server on one PC and HUD on the other, then on the other PC, when you've got just overlay, you will set up address, and you would copy those numbers here, and port you would also copy from this. Alright, so I'm not going to do this. I usually just leave the port because I sometimes start a couple of instances of this HUD. So yeah, unfortunately one thing hasn't changed, that you need to start CSGO in full screen windowed mode for it to work. I know I don't like it either, but I think it's worth it if you want to have custom HUD, if you want to have many custom HUDs at once practically. So now we are here. Alright, now we need to change this, and alright, before I start this funny executable file, we're gonna go back here. And we need to go to public, we need to go files and CFG, and we've got those two files. And if you don't want to play with configuration, you just copy that, you go to Steam directory, then Steam apps, then common, then CSGO, then CSGO. No, then yes, CSGO, then CFG, and you copy it right here. And what does it do? It just I'm gonna go back because I already have those files. This file is game state integration, and it needs to be copied to CFG folder before you start CSGO, and it basically tells CSGO to get all of the data it can from CSGO and send it to this address. It's localhost, so it's always on the same PC by default, on the same PC as the CSGO instance. Alright, let's play the demo, but it also works on regular matches. We go exec ops server, and it hides. I'm gonna turn off on graph. Alright, now what we do, we just click it twice, and we need to wait a minute. Not a minute, but it should come up. It sometimes loads for a while. and it's here. And we've got here a little panel, we've got new HUD, we've got default, and basically this is menu for choosing our HUD. So we are going to go with the default one, and it's loaded. Now we can change between players. We've got all of the settings. If we go to me, as you can see, my real name, pseudo real name, and my flag is already loaded. Everything looks nice and easy. Alright, so this is basically how you set up, but there is more. Now we need to go. Alright, if you want to turn off the overlay, you need to Alt Tab, and here is this process, you just shut it down. Now let's take care of the config. So we've got config JSON right here, and so what we have here, we have game state integration port, which is this port right here. If you want to change this, you also want to change this before starting up, or you would have to restart it after that. Next we've got server port, which is a port on which we connect to the web panel and HUDs. So if you would change this, for example, 8123, then in the config JSON for the overlay, you would also have to change this to 8123, but I'm not going to do this. This will be blurred because this is my Steam API key, and it needs to be filled in order to avatars to load, and avatars are beings. Here you can set up if they are displayed or not. If they're not, then they're not going to display. And we've got here avatar directory. This don't change this because it doesn't make any difference practically. So this is public files and avatars, and as you can see, there's already a couple of avatars here, because I didn't want to make this HUD to doing request every 0.5 seconds. And and last thing in the config file is GSI token, and this token must be precisely the same as in game state integration observer spectator, and it is token right here. It is a way to know if this data is coming from precisely this file, and it's important in some cases. If any of you finds a bug, you can hit me on Reddit. It's preferable. If you want to create your own HUD, please read the documentation. It's just JavaScript, and it's not as hard as it looks like. You basically just create a web page that looks like CSGO HUD. And if you want to make this default HUD prettier and something, you can also hit me with the ideas to make this more usable for broader audience. Alright, so bye.